Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have faint signs of summer. It's actually quite nice out there, so I'm not going to keep you long because I'm sure you'll all want to get out into the sun. I'll start off with a few, as usual, comments on last week's video. Callie, thank you for the shout out, honey. With Evil Dead Rise now out, it's the perfect time for Miss Violet's Underworld to make a comeback with a look at the Evil Dead from start to finish. That's something I wouldn't mind doing, actually. I have got Evil Dead 1, 2 and 3. I believe the Evil Dead remake from 2013 is on, I think it's Prime, so I can get that one. Evil Dead Rise I will be watching as soon as it hits streaming, which according to someone on some group that I was on last night is within the next couple of weeks. I can't believe that. I do know that it was supposed to go onto streaming straight away, but somebody persuaded Sam Raimi to give it a theatrical release, which is what he's done, and it's doing phenomenally well. Evil Dead Rise is absolutely everywhere at the moment. I've not heard a single bad review of it, not one. I'm looking forward to watching it, but as I've said before, I think I'm going to have trouble with certain sequences in it, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, I'd love to see that, Callie, if you're going to do that. Sort of a look from the humble roots from 81 or 82 that it came out, the original, can't remember. But yeah, that'd be worth a look. Guy, great vid, mate, thanks Guy. Love to see you on Sky Glass looking resplendent in 64-inch. I've been called a lot of things in the past, but never resplendent, so thanks for that, appreciate that. I love Lost in Space as well, you said. Keep this feature going. Every intention of keeping that feature going. It's going to run and run because I have loads and loads of series from yesteryear that I did grow up with. I've got another one here that will follow on from last week, so yes, that will be carrying on. Regarding the challenge, this is the challenge to watch Terrifier 2 that you threw my way a couple of weeks ago. If you're truly uncomfortable with it, then I hereby release you from it. See, I'm not always a bastard. Damn you, Jester Braithwaite, with your bloody reverse psychology. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Just because you said that, I'm probably going to give it a go. But as I say, it won't be for a few weeks. It'll be when I'm off next, which is in about a month, something like that. I'm pretty sure my other half wouldn't make it through the first 10 minutes of it, so no, I'm not going to put it on while he's here. So yeah, I say I will do it. I may have a change of heart, I don't know, but thank you for the get out clause, just in case I need it. And you put, oh, I forgot to say, I've seen the bitch but not the stud. Teenage me really enjoyed it for certain reasons. Story was crap though. Who cares about the story? I thought it was all right, actually. I didn't think it was bad at all. Whether it's actually based on the Jackie Collins novels or whether they've taken the usual liberties and given it a completely new story, I don't know, because I've never read the two Jackie Collins novels upon which they're based. But as you know, my love for those two movies just goes on and on. I love it, absolutely love both of them. I will say this, that I loved the Grand Theft Auto podcast that you did. It was a couple of weeks ago, but I only got a chance to listen to it yesterday. It made about as much sense as watching a foreign film with the wrong subtitles, but I really enjoyed it. I found it fascinating because it's a world I've not ever got into, computer games and all that sort of thing, but obviously I have heard of Grand Theft Auto, and I've also heard of the controversy that surrounded it many years ago. But your passion for that really showed through on that one. I really enjoyed that podcast. Thanks very much for the shout outs, by the way, for Pertwee Jr. Only you two could make me getting my Batman box set out sound smutty. You can tell you two were brought up on Carry On films. So yeah, really appreciated that. And I saw you post this morning, Guy, for Carry On Star Wars. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm really intrigued. I'm going to be taking a look at that a bit later on. I don't even begin to imagine what that's going to sound like. But who we got here? Jason. We were talking about the gap between release dates, cinema release dates, and streaming release dates, DVD, and all that sort of thing. And you put, look at it, 30 years ago, a film would get a cinema release, then another 8 months later, before you could rent it, add another 6 months before you could actually buy it. It would be about a year or more before you could actually own it. Luckily, it's come down to about 4 months before you can own it, which is brilliant. I do remember those days very, very well, and being very impatient to get certain titles, but there was nothing you could do about it. That was just the way it was back then. And you put, so I'd say release the film at the cinema on demand and available to buy on Blu-ray 4K the same day. Complete agreement with you. Give the viewers the choice. I'd probably not go to the cinema again. It would have to be something very, very special to get me into a cinema again. I have to admit, I'm not ruling it out. Maybe, one day I may just get a sudden urge to see what the inside of one of these places looks like again, and take myself off to see something. But it would have to be something very special. Possibly Indiana Jones. I don't know. We'll see how we go with that one. Let's see. You put, I'm quite happy watching my movies on my 65-inch TV in the comfort of my own home. Total agreement. Absolute total agreement. You put a film on, you can get up and nip to the loo when you need. You can make a drink, you can pause it. You can't do any of that in a cinema. You're just kind of stuck there. And some of these movies now, as I say, are 2.5, 3 hours long. You're at the risk of missing something if you nip out for 5 minutes. Let's see. The last movie you saw was James Bond's No Time to Die. The last one I remember seeing was, I think it was Deep Blue Sea. No, it would be Insidious, and possibly the original Planet of the Apes of the new trilogy, because I remember going with a couple of neighbours to go and see Insidious. So this would be about 15 years ago, so that's probably the last time I went. You said you'd possibly be tempted by the new Lethal Weapon or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Maybe not so much Lethal Weapon, but the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, possibly. We'll see. Your Sunday afternoon matinee, what a foursome. Smoking the Bandit 1 and 2, followed by Cannonball Run 1 and 2. Pure road movie heaven to me, that is. I love both of those. Smoking the Bandit went into a third one, didn't it? But I don't believe it had any of the original casting, am I right? So it means that I've not actually seen it, but I have seen the first two, and I've seen both Cannonball Run 1 and 2. So yeah, that's a great double feature for this afternoon. Lee, you put a comment. Lee Barber, you didn't actually put a comment, but you collared me at work this week. We were talking about musicals, and I think I mentioned the Take That musical, Greatest Day, or Greatest Days, or whatever it is, and you mentioned that you couldn't even stand Mamma Mia, and your description of Mamma Mia was something along the lines of, it's just about a slut who doesn't know which of the three men she slept with is the father of her daughter, set to ABBA music. That pretty much boils it down. I can't agree with you because I love it, but I love ABBA's music. So, but yeah, that pretty much sums it up, I suppose. Scott, excellent video, Tony. Loved it, mate. Glad you enjoyed Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I just thought it was great fun. I'm currently working on a review for the website of that one. It's not exactly retro, but I kind of felt compelled to write a review of it, so I've kind of started it, and I'm going to try and finish it later today if I can. Glad you're enjoying my reviews. I'm loving them. You watched a movie called Coffee last week. I remember seeing that for the first time at, Jason, you'll remember this, Glyn Williams in Bargate. He had what looked like a portable TV with two film reels attached to the side, and it was the latest in the line of projectors, but it was like a TV projector, if that makes any sense. And he put Coffee on one day while I was in there, and I was surprised at how violent it was. I do remember a sequence with razor blades in hair. I do remember that. That was pretty damn nasty. I have got Coffee somewhere upstairs, and I will be watching that again. There's a book that I could recommend to you, which I've not actually got with me, but I did show it off a few weeks ago when I bought it about the history of blaxploitation films. If you liked coffee, there are a million of those movies out there. Shaft, Truck Turner. There's loads of them. So if I think on next week, I'll get that book down and I'll show it to you. Let's see. Also, thanks for the shout out. Glad you're enjoying my reviews. I've said that, don't I? There'll be a lot more going up in the future. I'm looking forward to watching more classics. Good on you. Good on you. It doesn't do to just watch new films, I think. I think you've got to immerse yourself in some of the older ones as well. So good on you on that. Steve Mack. Loved the Second Sight video. Absolutely loved it. I had it on at work yesterday. I listened to it and I thought I'm going to need to start making notes on some of these titles. So I carried a little notebook around with me with a pen, and every time you mentioned one that I thought, oh yeah, I've seen that, or I like the sound of that, I'd whip the notebook out and write it down very quick. Now I've got some here, just bear with me. This is my little notebook that I was carrying around. These are some of the titles that you mentioned yesterday. The Amazing Mr. Blunden. I've got that one. Is this the Second Sight one? I don't know. Yes, it is. Yeah, bought this probably about 18 months ago. Is it a rare one now then? I don't know. But I loved this. The first time I actually saw this was when I bought it. And I couldn't believe that this beautiful Christmassy type film had escaped me for so many years. But that's the Second Sight one I think that you're struggling to get at the moment. Let's put that down there. What else? Man with the X-ray eyes. I too remember that final scene. Now you know I hate anything to do with eyes or damage to eyes. So yeah, that scene at the end of The Man with the X-ray eyes with Ray Milland really freaked me out. It really, really did. And it freaked me out every single time I watched it. Maybe not so much now, because now you watch it, you can see it for what it is. It's not particularly explicit, but bloody hell, to somebody that was about 10 or 11 years old at the time, yeah, that was nasty. That Dawn of the Dead box set looks bloody awesome. I'm going to need to have a look at that one. It's got everything in. I mean, there was books and soundtracks and all sorts. I dread to think how much it was, but it looked absolutely amazing. The other one I've got on your list is Walkabout. Now, this isn't a Second Sight one. Cracking film, though. I think it's a pretty bare bones release, this. There are no features as far as I can tell, but it's a beautiful print. I don't think I'll be updating it to the Second Sight one anytime soon, but that's the other one that I like, which was obviously, as you said, Jenny Agutter's follow-up to The Railway Children. And how different were those two films? The Strangers, eerie and very, very unsettling. I believe they're remaking that at the moment. I'm not sure. Nightingale, horrible film, absolutely horrible. Chris Hukin, I believe you recommended this one to me and told me that it was pretty nasty stuff. I didn't realise how nasty it was until I watched it. Really, really well done, but I don't think it's one I will ever revisit. It's a horrible movie. Host, loved it. Really unnerving again. This is the one, if I remember right, that was to do with the seance conducted on Zoom. Am I right? Really, really good. Raw. Just the fact that it's directed by, let me get this right, Julia Ducournau, is it? Who was the director of Titane. Titane was another movie that it's part of this sort of extreme French violent cinema. Titane was a brilliant idea for a story. It was just difficult to watch, really hard. So I don't really think I'd get very far with Raw if it's in the same sort of vein. What else have we got here? The Craze. Love that movie. I do remember when it first came out, thinking when I read the cast of it, I thought, the Kemp brothers from Spandau Ballet, there's no way that's going to work. You know what I mean? They can't act, surely. And I absolutely loved it, and it's become a firm favourite of mine over the years. Billy Whitelaw as Violet Crate is superb. Censor. Watched it maybe last year or the year before. Absolutely loved it up until the last 10 minutes when it just went batshit crazy. I couldn't understand the ending. I keep meaning to revisit it and have another look to see whether it makes any more sense. But I'm in no hurry to do that. But it was a cracking film up until that. And it gave you quite an insight into the work of the BBFC, which I did enjoy. The Witch, that was a good one. Monster Alien Warner. So I've actually put that on my view list on Prime. It's hit Prime, so I'm going to be taking a look at that one. Dog Soldiers, absolute and total and utter classic. That is on my wish list on Amazon. I will be investing in that box set. I keep looking at it and thinking, shall I, shan't I? The Mummy, 1959, brilliant. I remember working at Comet. Do you remember Comet? Years ago when I was about 16, 17, and this was when the first VHS movies came in, and we tried it out by setting the timer to record The Mummy, and I watched it over and over and over again. Absolutely loved it and still do. Two movies I'm curious about that you mentioned that I've not heard of: Revenge, French movie, and a Banquet. I nearly said a bouquet. That's my writing. It's bloody terrible. That's why I do it on here now. That's two I'm interested in. Bull sounds really violent. Not sure about that one. Boiling Point, absolutely brilliant. A tour de force of acting. And for saying that was all done in one continuous shot. My God, the director must have had the patience of a saint with that one, but superb. Martin, which is a Romero film. This is one I keep looking at on Amazon. I don't recall ever seeing this, but I do remember hearing about it in the late 70s. So that's one I wouldn't mind to look at. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That box set is definitely going to be mine at some point soon. I think the 200-page hardback book did it for me. So I will be getting that one. And I believe, this is going to be big news, mind you, you've already broken it now. The Hitcher is coming up for re-release by Arrow. Not Arrow, Second Sight. Here we go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. That is a brilliant movie, and I've not seen it for quite a while, so that's one I'm definitely going to be looking forward to. So thanks for that video, Steve. All we need now is a tour of your 4K collection. I really enjoyed that one, and I love the unscripted side of it, by the way. I could tell straight away. I thought he's winging it with this one, and he did a really cracking job of it, mate. So yeah, enjoyed that one and looking forward to your next one. Rick, great vid as always, Tone, mate. Cheers, mate. You'll love Terrifier 2. Blood and Honey was great, but not as good as I thought it would be. I watched Evil Dead Rise, and it was absolutely amazing. It's defo worth a visit to the cinema. Take care. Yeah, I mean, that would be one to watch at the cinema, kind of. As I say, it is absolutely everywhere at the moment. Pretty much every movie podcast, movie review podcast I've listened to this week has been headlined by Evil Dead Rise. I've heard countless interviews with the stars, with Sam Raimi. It is doing really, really, really well. I would love to know what Kermo thought of it. He's actually been on holiday for the last couple of weeks, and there's been 2 stand-ins, which it hasn't really been the same. But the latest episode dropped, I believe, yesterday, so I'm going to have a listen to that, because he does the top 10 movies, and I'm hoping he'll express an opinion on it, and I get the feeling he's going to like it, but we'll see. Jason Kerr, also awesome video again, Tony. Cheers, mate. Thanks for the shout out, and yes, I did enjoy Evil Dead Rise and did a spoiler-free 60-second review pretty much straight after leaving the cinema. So you'll find that on the group. You enjoyed it, as obviously, and you have copyright warnings too, mate. It's a minefield, isn't it? It's doing me head in. It's like you can't put anything at all apart from basically me sitting here doing what I'm doing now. Because if I start putting clips and things from movies or even pictures on, I don't know. At the moment, it's only been through soundtracks, so maybe I should try it and see what happens. But I don't want to spoil a 30-minute video for the sake of putting a 30-second clip in the middle of it. How do you do it, Dave? Dave Oliver, Savage Zombie. Because you do your trailer reactions, don't you? You've got those playing in the background. Maybe trailers are in the public domain. Maybe that's what it is. I'd be curious to know how you get around that. I did. Oh, you talking about John Carpenter, Jason, as being your favourite director, and you'd have to say your favourite is Prince of Darkness. I enjoyed Prince of Darkness. I watched it for the first time all the way through last year. It's definitely not one of my favourites, but it's a good movie. It's very, very good, deep, intense. But yeah, I did enjoy it. And I did watch the trailers for 3 movies that you mentioned last week: Ouija Shark, Shark Exorcist, and Sharkenstein. Wow, they make Beaster Bunny look like Citizen Kane. Fuck. I mean, will I take a look at them? I don't know. Um, I'm getting on in years. I'm 61 this year. Have I got the time to be watching movies like that? I don't know when there are so many classics out there to watch. I'll see. I will be watching your reviews of The Omega Man, by the way, and Rise of the Zombies. The Omega Man is one that I've meant to watch for a long, long time. Charlton Heston. Um, it's another apocalypse one, isn't it? Which is obviously part of that season that you're doing. Um, so I will be taking a look at those. Dave Oliver, Savage Zombie Reviews. Your Velocipaster trailer reaction, the look on your face said it all, mate. Please stop asking me to review this movie. I'm not going to ask you to review it. I don't need you to review it. I pretty much know exactly what you're going to think of it. Your Evil Dead Rise review, really, really enjoyed that. You loved it. You did love it. You got everything across perfectly, without giving too much away. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a look at Evil Dead Rise, and I will be taking it in possibly as soon as it hits streaming. You also did a trailer reaction to a movie called The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I can't believe you've never seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, but you're not a big vampire fan, are you? So that pretty much explains that one. I loved Bram Stoker's Dracula, but this Last Voyage of the Demeter looks absolutely amazing, and I think you're pretty much on board with it as well. It's one I will definitely be taking a look at. Let's see, is there anything else? There were a load of others, but I've forgotten to write them down. I listened to them all yesterday. And I say listen because your reviews are brilliant, because I don't really have to watch them. I can be cleaning my canteen at work and doing all my bits and pieces with you just in my ears and listening to it. I did walk down the centre of the canteen while it was rammed yesterday, going, "Hey guys, how is it all going?" And a couple of guys just looked at me and said, "What the fuck is he doing? Who's he talking to?" That was as soon as your video started. So yeah, you're good. You're as good on audio as you are on video, mate. So yeah, right. A few bits of news here. Let's see. Brad Pitt is doing a Formula One movie. He's basically going to play a retired Formula One driver who is brought out of retirement to train a younger driver. It sounds amazing. It's got the backing of the whole Formula One fraternity, all the management, all the drivers. Most of the drivers will be making guest appearances in it. I can't wait for this. I really, really like Formula One movies. I've got here a little collection that I will show you very quickly. These are all the sort of motorsport movies that I've got, just to show you how much I enjoy these ones. First one is Le Mans 66. This isn't even out of the cellophane yet. I think this was a Christmas present from somebody, not last year, but the year before. So I need to get in touch with that one. I've not seen it yet. This was my dad's favourite. He loved this. And he gave me this to have a watch of. I never did watch it. Obviously he's gone now, so I've held on to it. So I will be having a look at it. A documentary about Ayrton Senna. It's supposed to be one of the best ones out there. Silver Dream Racer. It's not Formula One, but it's still motorsport. Again, David Essex did some cracking films in the 70s. That'll Be the Day, Stardust, and this was another one. He sang the theme tune to this. Absolutely loved it. I haven't seen it for quite a while. I believe Beau Bridges is in this yet, and Christina Rains. Mostly set around the sort of the Silverstone circuit and stuff like that. So that's one I need to have a watch at on Blu-ray. This was my favourite, Rush. Absolutely loved this. I was actually at the 1976 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, which is where a lot of this is set. This is obviously about the rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Legendary rivalry, and this is a cracking film. The motor racing scenes are superb, directed by Ron Howard. Can't go wrong with that one. This is one I've never seen, but it was one of my dad's favourites. Winning. This is Paul Newman and Joanna Woodward. It's a long film. It's getting close to 3 hours. That's one I need to make time to have a look at. Another one in a similar vein, Grand Prix, which is starring James Garner. I believe Steve McQueen was slated to star in this, but after some sort of a spat with one of the filmmakers, he backed out of it, and they got James Garner in to do that one. And finally, the king of cool himself, Le Mans. And as I've said many times, this was my very first experience of movies in a cinema. My dad took me to see this around about 1971 when it came out. I'd never seen a film in a cinema before, so this was all completely new to me, and this was quite a baptism of fire for that. But a cracking movie, absolutely brilliant, and Steve McQueen is just superb, as he was in pretty much everything he did. So that's all that. So yeah, looking forward to this Brad Pitt movie. It's untitled as yet. I believe it's going before the cameras sometime this year, so hopefully we'll get that sometime in 2024. What else have I got here? Film reboot of Grange Hill. Interesting. Phil Redmond, who created the original series, he's on board, and I believe they're going to be getting a lot of the original cast members in. Not really sure how I feel about this. When I first read about it, I was quite excited by it because I thought this could be good. But yeah, is it just me? Is it not going to look just like Waterloo Road and what's the other? Is it Ackley Bridge? Isn't it just going to look pretty much like those? Jason, you said, oh no, Guy, you said, should it be a thing? I think I didn't even know this was a thing when I put the post on. And you put, should it be a thing? I don't want a PC woke Grange Hill. Well, that's pretty much all we get anyway nowadays, isn't it? I mean, they're obviously going to have to run it past the woke brigade to make sure, no rules are being transgressed and nothing's being said that shouldn't be said. So I don't think we're going to have much of a choice on that one, mate. And Jason, you put Tucker as headmaster. What a brilliant idea. And Zama was a drug counsellor. Yeah, I see the irony there. I wasn't. The only series I really saw of Grange Hill was the first one, because I was still at school in 1977, I think it came out. So I do remember all the original characters like Tucker Jenkins. But as we go further on, I only saw sort of odd bits of it. There was a horrendous bully named of Gripper Stebson. Really well played, but really, really unsettling to watch. But yeah, I mean, I'll may take a look at it, but it just doesn't sound like something that I would give much time to. So let's see. Quick Q&A. Jason Kerr, best cliffhanger series finale. Gotta be Game of Thrones, The Red Wedding. I didn't see that one coming at all. What a horrible, horrible sequence. And apart from that, I would probably say Who Shot JR in Dallas, because that was literally everywhere in 1981. You couldn't move for Larry Hagman, but that was one hell of a cliffhanger. So much so that you still remember it now, 40 years on. So, series that I grew up with. I promised I'd keep this going, guys, so here we go. This week we're still with Owen Allen, but this is the last one I've got. Land of the Giants. This is the complete series, as you can see. A great box set. The Spindrift, which I believe was a sort of a modern equivalent of an airplane, and I believe it was set in 1984, which was the future when this came out, which is the late 60s. The Spindrift goes through some kind of a space-time anomaly and ends up on Earth, but of a tiny size. And it is literally what it says, the Land of the Giants. It ran for about 2 seasons, probably 50 or so episodes. It hasn't been seen in quite a while on TV, so I would love to run this through again just to see how it holds up now. I think it'll hold up just as well as Lost in Space. What was the other one? Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Owen Allen just knew how to do this kind of stuff. He was absolutely superb at it, and I can't fault him. He also did obviously a lot of disaster movies, Tower and Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. The not so brilliant When Time Ran Out with Paul Newman and a host of other people, but also one of our favourites, The Swarm. We all know that one. So yeah, Land of the Giants for this week. I'll be moving on to someone other than Irwin Allen next week, but yes, Guy, I will be keeping that going. I've bought a few bits this week, but I haven't really got time, so I'm going to save those till next week because I don't want to run over 30 minutes. So thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. I've had a great time with you all as usual. Have a great weekend. Get out into the sun because we don't know how long it's going to last. And all I'll say is I'll be here, well, same time next week. Enjoy your week, and thanks ever so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and also like and subscribe and share far and wide. It would be very much appreciated. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll talk to you all again next week. Take care. Ta-ra. Welcome back, you lot. Steaming through it as quickly as that, I knew that I would forget something. I completely forgot to review or talk about the movies that I've watched this week. There's only a couple, but thick. First one was View from the Top, which is a kind of, I thought it was going to be a rom-com. Stars Gwyneth Paltrow. You've got a hell of a cast with this. Rob Lowe, Mike Myers, Candice Bergen. About a girl who basically buys a self-help book written by Candice Bergen and decides that she wants to become an air hostess. It's not really a rom-com. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I really, really enjoyed it. I was talking to somebody earlier in the week about it who couldn't make out whether it was supposed to be, whether it was just a bad movie or whether it was just trying to look like a bad movie. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I thought it was really, really good. Standout performance for me was Candice Bergen, who was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I've seen her in Soldier Blue, which was the movie from 1970, which I keep meaning to talk about, but I need to watch it again. And also a movie called Rich and Famous, which was out about 1979-ish. So I thought she was superb in this. So if you get the chance to watch View from the Top, I'd very much recommend it if you just want something that's fairly light viewing, and that holds your attention, which it did with me. I didn't think it would because it's not really my kind of film, and I didn't think it was going to. 10 minutes in I thought, oh god, this is going to be a slog, but it got better and I really enjoyed it. So that's View from the Top. The next one I watched, it's actually a 1 and a 2, Weekend at Bernie's. This one's just for you, Mark. Right, okay, the story, such as it is, two young guys work for, I think it's an insurance company, played by Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, and they discover a scam being run. They take it to the boss, whose name is Bernie. What they don't realise is the boss is the one that's actually doing this scam. He invites them to his beach house with the intention of having them killed by the mafia, who are also on this scam. Now, it doesn't sound like a comedy so far, but it is. I really, really enjoyed this. I didn't think I was going to. Again, it's not really my kind of movie. But I just thought the whole thing was completely daft. But the standout performance in this has got to be the guy who plays Bernie. Obviously, they get to the beach house and find him dead. The mafia have actually killed him, and they spend the rest of the movie trying to convince everybody that he's still alive. It is really, really cleverly done. I did thoroughly enjoy it. There's only one word for it, like I said on the Facebook group last night, and that's daft. It's as daft as a brush, but it's just good fun. Really, really good fun. As for the second one, it got even stupider. But it's one of those things, one of those rare things where the sequel, I think, wasn't too bad. I don't think you liked it, Jason. I think you said it was pretty crap, but I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2. They're from the late 80s, I believe. Yeah, I would say definitely worth watching. Daft as hell, but really, really funny. But the guy that plays Bernie is just superb. Not so much when he's alive, but actually when he's dead, believe it or not. So if you've not seen them, track them down because they really are good fun. And last night's pizza and a movie night was Personal Services. Now, directed by Terry Jones, who was an ex-Python. Um, it is supposedly based around the life story of Cynthia Payne, who was basically a brothel keeper in London. Um, they say in the movie that it is not based on the life of Cynthia Payne. I have ordered Cynthia Payne's book, which has been out for decades. I think it's called An English Madam. So when I've read that, I will tell you whether this is based on that or not. They flatly deny it, but I think it is. But I really enjoyed this. I've seen it many times. I do remember somebody bringing it back to the video shop. This was when I worked there. I can't remember how long it had been out, but it hadn't been out very often. And I remember this lady took it, bought it back, and basically said, "That is absolutely disgusting." And I said, "Why?" She says, "You need to watch it. It's absolutely disgusting." She was not impressed at all. So, but I thought it was great. Really good fun. Again, Julie Walters at the top of her game with this one. I think this and possibly Educating Rita are Julie Walters' two finest hours, without a doubt. So that was last night's Pizza and a Movie Night. Next week, I've left the choice with the other half, and he's gone for one that I'd never in a million years thought that would be suggested. I'll save it till next week, but it caught me completely off guard. It's a totally left field choice, considering we've watched stuff like Wish You Were Here, Personal Services. What was last week's? Can't remember. He just loves British comedies. But this is anything but. So I'll enlighten you with that one next week. This really is goodbye this time, because I've kept you for long enough. Again, thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe, share, blah, 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 blah. Have a brilliant week, and I will talk to you next week, folks. I don't think I've forgotten anything else. I really hope I haven't. Take care, folks. Talk soon. Ta-ra.